Well, hello everyone, and welcome to FranTastic InSights, where we provide insights from some of the coolest people in franchising. My name is Alesia Visconti. I am the president and CEO of FranServe and Franchise Dictionary magazine. Now, FranServe is the largest franchise consulting organization in the world, and our mission is really very, very simple. We help people change their lives through franchise ownership. And we do that through a network of incredible franchise brands and franchise consultants, all who are dedicated to helping their candidates explore franchise opportunities. Now, today, I am excited to be with a gem in this industry. His name is Brent Dowling. He is the CEO and co-founder of RainTree and also the chairman of Voodoo Breweries. And we'll hear from Brent in just a second. I want to just say, Brent, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Alesia. Great to be here as always.
Yes, and now I would really appreciate it for our listeners and our audience if you could explain a little bit about RainTree and the concept and the brands and Voodoo Brewery. All very, very exciting. We love RainTree and we love working with you and your team. So if you could just explain it to the audience, I think they'd love that.
Yeah, of course. So RainTree is a full-service franchise sales organization, an FSO. We work with about 16 brands as of today, an eclectic mix of food, service, retail brands, brand new franchises to some 20, 30-year franchises and some larger franchises too. So as I said, an eclectic mix of brands that we've identified and we believe are in the elite category of brands. Our goal and our role is to shepherd those brands and grow them into new markets across the country through innovative franchise marketing and sales strategies. So we've been doing this now about 8 years, and this year's certainly been interesting, but a fun one nonetheless. And again, thanks for having us today to talk about it.
My pleasure. And I will tell you, Brent, as you know, FranServe Consultants, we love the RainTree brands, and we're always excited to help our candidates explore opportunities. Now, I know recently you did an acquisition with Voodoo Brewery. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited. Again, I've been doing this not that long comparatively to some of the folks in this industry that I'm still learning from today, and are far more accoladed and know a lot more than I do about things. But even in that 10 years, I've had access to really study a lot of franchise brands. I probably it's a bit quieter right now, but on average during the year, I would say probably 4 or 5 brand applications a week of franchise brands who are looking to grow a little faster. And so in looking at those and really studying and understanding what's under the hood of those brands, you start to learn and start to see some commonalities and some traits of these brands that really, as we say, go galactic, and those that do okay and those that don't quite make it. And so we're working, obviously, like I said, we try and really make sure we only identify and work with the elite brands. One of those we identified was Voodoo Brewery. We started working with them earlier this year. And, the opportunity came up. They wanted some investment. They wanted some partners. They wanted some leadership. A great group of guys. But more than anything, I knew what was under that hood, and I knew it was special. I knew what they were offering in terms of a product standpoint. There's nothing else like it in terms of their list of beers. It's nationally and internationally awarded. It truly, you hear brands say, we have a cult following. I used to thought some of the brands we worked with had a cult following. Not until I saw this, not until you see a brand where folks will literally line up around the corner just to get access to an LTO, a limited time offer. And they'll do that every single month. And so again, when you see a brand like that and just a great group of guys when you see an opportunity to get on board and invest in a brand like that, we had to take it because again, I think it's going to be gigantic. So yeah, we kind of made that play not even 2 months ago. We kind of press pause, reposition some things now that we're a little more deeply involved. Press go on franchising again just recently, and just last week we thanks to a consultant, we did a deal in Las Vegas. So it's all sold out now, and Voodoo Breweries, we've already got 8 locations, but we're adding a few more in Vegas now, and off to the races, I hope. So yeah, so far so good.
Very, very exciting indeed. And I just want to say, Brent, that you're always a very humble man. And you started to say that you don't have as many years, and you have 10 years in the industry, not as many. But I will tell you, I know that many people in the industry do look to you for some of your ideas. You think outside the box. You have a very intuitive ideas about brands. So I think that there's many people who respect you and your opinion as you respect theirs. So I just want to put that in. I know you're a very humble man, but you're a very accomplished man in the space as well. So.
Oh, thank you. That's kind of you to say.
Well, it's the truth. So, and you know what? I know when I ask a question like this, you were talking about voodoo and Las Vegas. I know a lot of times when I ask this, I'll get the answer of everywhere, but is there a particular market or something that's really hot that you're looking, to expand, or an area that if you just could put your fingers around it, it would be the best? Or is it really nationwide, the everywhere answer for you?
Yeah, I thought before, again, I looked under the hood and learned it more deeply. I thought, wow, there's big beer states, right? There's states where craft breweries are everywhere. Denver is one of them, where we are here. And I was shy of going into those states. But as I learned and worked with the guys there and the gals at Voodoo Brewery, it really opened my eyes to this thing is needed everywhere. And it actually does even better in markets where there are a lot of craft breweries already, where there is a big following. So the answer is, yeah, we generally want to take it everywhere. And certainly there's some key markets right now. We're looking at Texas, looking at Denver, and that's a separate story. We can talk about Denver in a moment. Portland would be a great one as well. And then there's already, as I said, such a cult following on the East Coast. It's pretty big internationally, especially Germany and Europe, but such a cult following on the East Coast. We've got presence in Pittsburgh, Cleveland, a couple markets there. I'm certainly wanting to capitalize on that brand presence there on the East Coast too.
Great. Now you were saying that there's a little story for Denver, so I've got to ask what that is.
Yeah, of course. So, I've been preaching for a little while now, and what we're seeing is this. We're seeing obviously an uptick in interest in people wanting to buy franchises, as they should. Unemployment climbs. People realize they're not really in control of their destiny when they're at the under the thumb of corporate America. And wow, owning my own business, controlling my destiny sounds great, but I've never done that before. So owning a franchise is the perfect balance, and I agree with that. I genuinely do. And so we're seeing, as you guys are too at FranServe, we're seeing the increase in folks looking to get into franchise ownership. And I'm seeing the majority of those, I believe, from just our small data set of 16 brands and then kind of a little bit of an eye on the industry, a lot of folks going to service brands right now. And you're seeing folks look at service brands because people are spending money on their homes. Naturally, we're in our homes more. We're picking up on things that we don't like. We're using our homes and put more strain on them. So the demand from a consumer level for service brands is very high. And so we're seeing folks thinking this is a great business for me to get into. What's concerning about that for me, and I'm saying this from a place too where I think we have 3 service brands, some pet brands that are sort of doing better right now because of the environment we're in, some mobile brands that are doing better. So I'm saying this from this place too of someone who's benefited from this same type of increased traction into things like service franchises, but it does concern me. Because I think that the worry is that folks are looking for an investment in a franchise based on the consumer demand right now. And right now in this environment, this pandemic that we're in. My question is, look, when does that end though? Is that 1 year? Do we all agree that in a year, we're kind of going to be done with this one way or the other and back to our ways where we're out spending money on things that are experiential or in food and all those things that we know are safe and places where people like to spend money? Or do we really think that folks are going to continue to spend on their homes and through services for the next 9 years of that franchise agreement too? And I'm not too sure that that's the case. I think there's this big pull right now to dump our money in and want to go with a brand where the money is right now. And so what we're learning to do is, even though, again, a good chunk of our candidates we're placing into those brands when it's a right cultural fit, when the skill sets are right, we're certainly pushing that. But we're also asking the question, Are you looking to build a business of success for a year or so here, or are you trying to get 10 years out of this? And where do you think the world's going to be over the course of that 10 years? Let's make sure we answer that question. And so we've been talking about that as how we can responsibly grow franchise brands to ensure we've got validation, not just while this pandemic's putting money in pockets of franchise owners of service brands, but ensure we've got validation in these brands for years to come when we're out of this environment. And we thought, look, let's practice what we preach. You know, we see Voodoo, we like what we like it a lot. We see exactly what's happening in the real estate market right now. There's tons of it. You can get A, real estate for B or C pricing. You can get capital easier. I do believe the demand's so pent up that as soon as, again, one way or the other, we clear the corner, folks are going to come running back in, and that's where they're going to stay for a little while to come. And so that's where Voodoo Brewery Denver is coming from. We're in the process right now of opening our own as a franchisee as well, because I believe that, you know, there really is something to that. Make sure that you're buying a franchise, not for now, but for 10 years. And I think that's a good 10-year play for us, at least.
You know, and that's so insightful because, again, human beings being social animals, we do, right? We do what we need to do during COVID times, but all of us, you know, we all say it. I mean, every time I have somebody on the show, it's like, I can't wait till we see each other in person. And, you know, we're back to that quote unquote normal. So very insightful. Again, you know, Brent, you always have your eye on the future and looking at things a little bit, as I said, you know, a little out of the box. So it's always, I always love hearing from you. And I always follow you on social media because you really do have insights that are great. You're talking a little bit about some of your, you know, franchisees and growth. Let's talk about that a little bit more in depth. What qualities do you look for as a franchisee for Voodoo Brewery? What do you look for in a franchisee or to be a franchisee?
Yeah, I think the first and most important thing is somebody that's community-based, community-focused. You know, when you own something like a brewery, it's a fun environment, especially a Voodoo Brewery, where we want it to become people's local place, their go-to place for the best beer in this country, and also a pretty good feed as well. And to make sure that people feel that it truly is their spot, you've got to be welcoming, and that starts with you and how you're treating your staff, up to the point of wanting to get in there every now and again and shake a customer's hand and have a chat. So somebody that's community based, somebody that's not afraid of getting up and having a chat and working with their customers and their employees. I think that's really important. I also think you need to be not left of center, but you need to know how to have fun. This brand, you'll see in our marketing, the team at Voodoo, they are left of center. They embrace the weirdness. They embrace just no egos. Let's live life, have fun, and put the best product out that we can while we're doing that. You got to be someone that wants to do that. And then I think a really good person is just someone that's just felt that they've been stifled in corporate America. They've been in their cube or at their desk, and they've felt like they've had shackles on their hands, and they just want to let loose and really enjoy what they can be successful in. That's the type of person we think is going to be successful. If you like craft beer and you can appreciate just how good this liquid that we have is, that's a bonus as well.
Super. So if I hear you correctly, they don't necessarily have to have a food background or spirit background in order to come through and be a franchisee for you. Is that correct?
No, and the reason is this, and this is the beauty of the Voodoo model. Again, you've got internationally and nationally acclaimed beers, some of the best, right? I keep saying that because I really get excited when I talk about it. But you don't have to brew one thing. That's the problem with a brewery, right? It seems the front end looks awesome. You get to have this great beer and everybody loves you in your community because you've got the spot. But behind the scenes, it is blood, sweat, and tears. It is not an easy business trying to get beer right. We've eliminated that back end. We do it all for the franchisees. Shows up on their door, they get it all, and they just get to be the good guy that sells it and the hero of their craft beer community. So for that reason, you don't need any experience in it. We do serve food when people stick around in Voodoo. As long as they do, our customers tend to hang around a little bit. We want to make sure that they're well fed. So there's food. It's a very simple menu. Don't need any experience in running a restaurant because the team's done a great job in simplifying the operations. But again, an ability to work well with a team, follow a system, and communicate well is important to execute that.
See, now I think our audience just had an aha moment, as I call them, because again, hearing that from you, Brent, really a lot of people who might be attracted to the brand to explore it, might not have the background that they think they need. And here you're saying, no, that's the whole beauty of the franchise. We have the system, right? And how many times do we say that? Follow the system, right? And that's the beauty of franchising. So very glad that you brought that point out to our listeners. And I'd like to go a little bit deeper now, Brent, and talk about one of my favorite hashtags on social media. I use this probably more than I use my own company's names and hashtag, and that's the hashtag of Franchise Strong. And to me, I mean, I'm very passionate about this. To me, it embodies everything that's franchising, the franchise fam, as we call it, the community of people who all work together to make other people's dreams of franchise ownership come true. And I see that across the board in countless categories, and even in situations like what we have now, still in COVID at this time, where even quote unquote competitors come together to help, again, promote the concept of franchise ownership. So when I think of Franchise Strong, to me, it's that, nothing will ever take this community down. We do everything we can as a group to help people become franchise ownership and to have their dreams of being self-employed fulfilled. So I'd love to hear, Brent, what Franchise Strong means to you, to RainTree, to Voodoo. You tell me what Franchise Strong means to you and your group.
Yeah, I think you nailed it pretty well. I see the world the same way. It's the collaboration, right? I've only worked in a few other industries, and certainly they not even close to what I'm seeing in terms of the spirit of collaboration in franchising. But I spoke about this in an interview just a few weeks ago, and we were talking about kind of just the weeks after kind of the world changed because of the pandemic. And it was a scary time. I remember, getting a phone call from another brand that I'm involved in called Kid Create Studio, a children's art franchise. We have 18 franchisees for that brand, and growing, and great brand. But I remember getting a call from the founder saying, "Look, looks like most states are shutting these franchise owners down. We're going to be closed for a while here," and that was pretty terrifying. But just literally a week later, Kid Create had been kind of watching what some other brands had done. Lara, the founder there, and Mike Conlon, the COO, had come up with some of their innovative strategies to do mail-out art kits, to literally send the lessons and the kits to the houses of the customers. The point being, I was absolutely astonished that they were able to pivot and create 2 new revenue streams for these franchise owners to keep money coming in just 2 weeks after being shut down. And that was a big part of that, was because of the idea sharing that similar brands had been so willing to give to them. And similarly for RainTree, in terms of growing franchises, we saw it as the same. I even to this day, and this is why I love doing these, because it's a chance to kind of share some of the things that we've seen work well. But you'd get an email every single day with this brand kind of giving top insights of what they've learned, and this company, and that I don't know for sure, because I don't have the exposure to other industries, but it feels really rare to me. And it just feels like we're in an industry that truly is special, and that folks are going to survive this. Franchise owners are going to survive this, and they already are at a much greater rate. I was actually looking at data on CNBC just this morning. They put out an article on McDonald's franchisees and Dunkin' franchisees, and how their same-store sales have been higher than they have in years. But more than that, their confidence in the franchisor has been higher than it's been in 18 years during a pandemic. That's a big data set to work off of, but I think it's reflective of that same feeling that we all have here, is our franchise owners are going to survive this at a much higher rate, and some are even flourishing because of this collaborative spirit of franchising. And that makes me pretty proud to be a part of.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, like you, I come from other industries as well. And I have not seen the kind of collaboration that is in this franchising space as strong as it is now. Peer to peer, right? Franchisee to franchisee, franchisor to franchisor. I mean, all of it really working together. And I will tell you, you know, Brent, when you're talking about it and you're sharing stories about your brands, and you light up. Your passion comes through very, very strong for the brands, the franchisees, franchising in general. So I'm sure you've been told that before, and I've seen you in person, but even on Zoom, your excitement comes through very strong. So that warms my heart to see as well. I just wanted to point that out for you. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, like most people in this industry, there's a genuine passion behind it because it works. So I'm glad it shows.
It does indeed. And, you know, I will say to our listeners, I know you're so used to hearing my Jersey accent and Brent's accent. I'm sure he's just so envious, and I'm sure he just so wishes he has my Jersey accent. Wink, wink. But I could talk to you forever, Brent, because I love the way your mind thinks, and your accent is just incredible. But I do love the way that you think outside the box. But I appreciate your time. I know everybody is busy, but I have to say, before we wrap up, do you have any last thoughts, any other things that you want to share with our audience?
Again, I think to hit home again on be brave and be smart. If you're looking at buying a franchise, and I think that's the audience here, I think firstly, before you do any of that, self-awareness is so important. Take the time to really understand who you are, where you want your life to go, what your values are, what culture you fit, what sort of tribe you want to be around. Answer those questions first, what your skill sets are, what you really like doing. And then look at where the opportunity is, right? Whether it's in a service brand now or a retail or pet brand or wherever you think it's going to be for the next 10 years. We know I talked at that at length today, but that should be secondary to who are you? What values do you have? What are your goals, and what sort of tribe do you want to belong to? And I think that's really the first thing before anyone gets in your ear, whether it's a brand or a franchise consultant about buy this brand or do this, do that. Spend some time to ask yourself those questions first. And then I think you'll be in a much better position to make a confident decision when the time comes.
Love it. Thank you so much, Brent. And I just have to say, have a fantastic day.
You too. Thank you.